welcome back to the Frugal Dad channel. I assume you saw the first intro video and you came back, so thanks for that. I appreciate it. So in this video, I just wanted to touch on some budget things for the beginning of the month. Looks like we are February 16th already, so March is going to be coming up soon. And if you haven't done your March budget yet, it's probably a good time to do that since we're like a week and a half away. So I just want to touch on a couple things, talk about some categories, briefly touch on sinking funds that we've got set up. As you know, this is following the Dave Ramsey plan. So one of the things I wanted to do was touch on the EveryDollar app or everydollar.com. I'm using the free version right now. I haven't upgraded to Plus. I like having control of it and putting in all my transactions for the month. Kind of helps me keep accountable for that. So if you want, I'll put a link down below for EveryDollar. It's free to sign up, very simple, very easy to use. So I just wanted to touch on a few things. As far as getting it set up, I have estimated, like starting with income, because obviously we're doing zero-based budgeting. So we have our income and we have our expenses, and the budget needs to equal zero at the end of the month. So we start with income. Changes a little bit month to month for us. So what I have in here right now is just kind of estimates from the previous month. So looking at our budget down here, we put in our income. We get paid every other week. So I've got 4 checks that we put in for the month for my wife and I. The giving section, I've not put anything in there right now. If I do, not sure how much I'm going to include that in the video. Ties and whatnot. It's kind of maybe a little personal, so I don't know if I'll put that in there. Next section, savings. I guess I should say we are done with baby step 1. I did get our emergency fund, our baby emergency fund funded in February, so that was good. We had that finished. On to baby step 2. So in the savings section, we've got the emergency fund, which is finished. I don't have anything assigned for that for the month. I've got a discretionary income category, and this is kind of the catch-all, which that's kind of my own thing. I don't know if that's the best way to do it. I know the point is to give every dollar an assignment before the month begins, so you make your money work for you. This is kind of like I've got everything else budgeted, and we kind of put it there for those things that come up that you don't really think about or you don't know. So essentially it's like a miscellaneous type sinking fund. So that's kind of where I put money at the end of my budget. So that's the last category I put into. The other thing that we've been doing, which is again not 100% on the Dave Ramsey plan, is we allow spending money for my wife and I. The idea was, I started this in February. The idea was we would kind of get an allowance for the month. We would each get our own spending, blow money, whatever you want to call it, to do whatever we wanted. You know, I usually stop for a drink at the convenience store on the way to work in the morning, or if I decide, you know, I need to eat out one day for lunch instead of eating what we brought, whatever it is, but that's what that money was to be for. I actually didn't pull out cash in February like I had planned, and it ended up being used for some of those things, but also running to Target and getting non-food type items or diapers for the little one, and so that's where we took that money out of. So that still is going to need some tweaking, but for right now I have put 4 weeks worth of this miscellaneous spending money as a category. So we'll see how that goes in March and see if we're going to end up keeping that. The next section that you budget for in EveryDollar is the housing section. So we own, well, we don't rent, we pay mortgage. So obviously that's the number one thing in our housing category is the mortgage. Then I've got all the utilities in here. It looks like water, gas, electric. We do have an alarm system. Again, that's probably one of those things that if you're really cutting corners that you probably could cancel. It's not really necessary, but you know, it makes us feel good. We've always had it in the house, so that's just something I budget for. So that's in there. Let's see, I've got cable, which we don't have cable. We do internet only. So that is something we pay for, and I put in that budget. Just because we do, well, I'll get into this in other videos. We have a business, we do stuff online, so we need internet for the house, so I do plan for that. The other thing I have in this category is one of our first sinking funds. We have to pay homeowners dues once a year. So it comes around in June. So what we pay for that, I've broken it up. And since I just started in January, kind of officially getting on the Dave Ramsey plan. So I've got 6 months to save for these homeowners fees. So I've broken it up. It's like $250, $300. I've broken it up into 6 months, so I've got a category under housing for that. And I'll touch on sinking funds later, but that's basically where I account for that money. The next section that we talk about is transportation. This is where I have budgeted the gas for the cars. We have 2 vehicles. It's kind of funny because I have budgeted $280 for the month of February. And right now we're on track. We'll probably do fine with that and hit it. The first month I did this, I think I budgeted like $500. Like I was way off. So we had to like shuffle around and move things. So that's one of the things when you start a budget is it takes a while to kind of figure out what it is and what you have. And if you haven't really been tracking your spending like we have, we get paid, we pay our bills, and there's money left, it's good, whatever, but we didn't have a plan for our money. So it's kind of funny how that works out. Let's see, the other thing I have in this section or this category, we do have car payments on both vehicles that we have. And again, if you follow Dave Ramsey's principles, your vehicles in the home should not be more than, the value should not be more than half of your income. Which ours are definitely not. We've got a little bit older vehicles. They're still great shape, decent miles. So, and the other thing is they can be and will be paid off within 2 years. Like I know one's gonna be paid off this year and the other one first next. So we're not selling our cars. We're not gonna get rid of those to get rid of a couple $100 payment and go for the $1,000 beater car. That I'm just gonna put those in our debt snowball and we're gonna get them paid off in no time, and then we still have decent vehicles, so that's in there. The other thing that I've got in this category is the money for car tags, which is another sinking fund, which I'm going to cover that probably in a later video. So I put money aside for those. Then the next section is the food section. This has been the toughest for us, definitely. I know I'm on Instagram too, so if you are as well, follow us at the Frugal Dad on Instagram. Kind of see all the randomness, things I find and post. So looking on that, I see a lot of people cutting grocery budgets, anywhere from a couple $100 for like a family of 12 for $200 for the month. I have no idea how they do it. So we're like crazy budget on food right now. We are very busy and we have 2 kids, and honestly a lot of times we just don't feel like cooking. We're tired in the evenings. We work long hours, so we eat out a lot. That's probably our biggest debt issue, and we're working on it. We've done better. The last month or so especially, we've really been more cognizant of that, really been watching. So we're still on budget for the month for the grocery category. Because I take all of the eating out, everything we do, and I just take it out of that money. You know, if we eat out last night, if we ordered in or got takeout or something, I just take that out of the food budget. I don't have a separate category for that, which some people do. I mean, they've got it set up on every dollar. There's groceries and restaurants, and I don't keep it separated. I've just got it in one lump sum. So that's something we're working on, and like I say, it's going to take time to get that adjusted and figure out what you can do, what you can't do, and where you're at with that. Let's see, for March, I've also got a new category. I called it Target, Walmart, Target, whatever you want to call it, which I didn't have in February's budget. So this is where we go and get toiletries, or probably going to take money when we go to like Sam's and Costco, that sort of thing. We'll take that out of there. Diapers for the kids, whatnot. So I made a new category for that. So we'll kind of see how that goes, see if I put enough in there, not enough, kind of where we are with that. let's see, the next section that you budget for, they call it lifestyle. This is pets, clothing, tuitions, memberships, that sort of thing. I don't have a whole lot of stuff in here. We don't budget specifically for clothes and stuff right now because we're trying to get as much paid off as we can. I do have tuition for my son's daycare in here, so that's where I account for that. Let's see. We do have Netflix. Like I say, we don't have cable, but we got 2 kids. You got to keep them entertained. Like they get their shows, educational shows, and just entertainment too. So we've got that in here. And we do have a gym membership. I put that in here as well. Again, this is one of those things that's kind of against Dave Ramsey because you should cancel all those extra memberships and things. This is something that's very important to my wife and I. We've always worked out. That's kind of our thing together. It's very important to stay healthy and in shape and all that. So that's something we just budget for. We don't cut it out. And we just won't. That's just part of it. So that's where I'm a little bit different than his plan, but I'm okay with that. We can afford it. It's in the budget. We know where the money's going, so I leave it in there. The next section, insurance and tax. This is where like health insurance, life insurance, auto insurance, which funny they put it in there, but health insurance comes from my employer, so we don't budget anything for that. But auto insurance, life insurance, those come in this section. And then the last section, the dreaded debt section. So this is where we list out all of our debts that we have. We've got a few credit cards, not a whole lot, but we've got a couple credit cards. What do we got? A couple personal loans, bank loans, whatever you want to call them. And then the biggie for us is student loans. So we have multiple degrees between us, and we have probably close to $200,000 in student loan debt for the 2 of us. And no, we're not doctors, we're not attorneys. My wife is in the medical field, and I'm in the IT field. Like I say, we have multiple degrees, so we also were dumb about it and took out extra money for those living expenses. So we got a lot of student debt. But I've got a plan, we've got it in here, we're gonna get it tackled. And that's kind of my point behind this whole channel. We know it's an issue, we know we wanna get it paid off, you know, we want to be able to travel, to do other things, just, you know, do things with the kids, all that. Like, we don't want to be strapped to working 40 plus hours a week, every week, and not having a whole lot to show for it. So that's when I decided in January. I knew of Dave Ramsey before. I kind of came across it again in January, and that's what I said, you know, I'm tired of this. We're going to get it done. Like, we make enough to cover everything, but we don't have a plan, basically. So we work together. This is a team effort. Like, obviously, most of you know, if you guys aren't on the same team, it's not going to work. If one of you is the spender and running up credit cards and the other one's a saver trying to pay it off, that's never going to work. So you have to be a team. You have to come together and do it as a team, do it together. I've got a finance degree, so the numbers and all that's always kind of been my thing. I've been studying and learning for years. I just never really put it into practice. So silly as that is, but I've read a lot, I've studied a lot, so that's kind of where I'm at. In January is when I decided, you know what, we're going to make a change, we're going to make this happen. So that's when I discovered every dollar and started budgeting. You know, I'm on our 3rd budget now, thankfully right now, and I've got it. It's a zero-based budget. It's got the check mark that it's an every dollar budget. So it's going to need some tweaks and changes and stuff. And that's the other thing about budgeting too. It's never just a static thing. I don't do it today, it's done, and then it's not going to change again. And that can be tough sometimes too, but you have to give yourself permission to let it change, to let it move around, because it's life, things happen, and you do the best you can. And having a plan for it, you're going to realize how much extra money you do have, or giving your money a name before the month starts it's been huge. So I'll probably touch on that in other videos as well. Let's see, looking at my notes, the every dollar, some of the categories. I briefly touched on sinking funds. So that's kind of our monthly March budget in a nutshell. Like I say, I'm gonna link every dollar down below. No, it's not an affiliate link. I don't get paid for it or anything like that. It's just been very, very helpful for me. I think they have an app as well that you can use. So you guys check it out, see what you think. Always comment. I love to hear what you guys think about it. You know, if you have questions about it, because I've been using it for several months now, and there's a little bit of oddities here and there with the funds and whatnot. So definitely comment. Let me know what you think. I guess that's it for this video. So thank you guys for joining me. I really do appreciate it. As always, please subscribe and like, so I know you guys are interested, and I'll keep making videos like this. I've got a whole list. I've got my notes here. I've got a whole list of topics that I want to cover and things I want to touch on. So please stick around and hope you enjoy it. Thanks, guys.